afternoon, everybody. I'm being joined here today with Michael Ashley from Registered Agents, and he's going to talk to us about all the reasons why we should use registered agents for our resident agent work that we need to have done. So, Michael, first, why don't you tell us what is a registered agent?
Yeah, also known in Maryland as a resident agent. We go by registered agents. Most every other state calls it registered agent, but that's actually the official term. By law, in any state you're doing business, you have to have a physical address where like lawsuit, service of process, official tax material gets sent. And we act as that capacity. You can be your own, your client can be your own, but sometimes they don't want a process server coming in, or it might be an employee in the state and they want a professional to do it that has liability insurance. So that's an aspect of it. We're really forming the entities, more so incorporating, registering to do business in any state. And then by law, if you're doing business in 5 states, you might not have a physical office in that state, and that's where we can come in and arrange for that physical office required by law, really.
Okay. So you fill out the paperwork for the articles of incorporation or articles of organization?
That's correct, yeah. When I started the business over 21 years ago, the majority of them were general corporations and S-corps, and now probably 60 or 70%, I think last year in Delaware, formations were LLCs. But we actually prepare them on the behalf of your clients. We're not giving legal advice. We're just acting as a service to help them do it themselves, basically, for only $79 plus the state fee. So we're local. And we're preparing the documents, getting them to review it, and then submitting them so they can officially be incorporated or formed in whatever state they so choose to.
Okay.
So that's the main thing.
Do you also do foreign registrations and things like that?
Yeah, that's a big part of our business. So, ideal clients are them. Their clients are doing business in, more than one state, multiple states. And we're taking their initial domestic entity and registering it to do business in whatever state they need to do business in. And so that's where a lot of it comes from. We do Maryland's, Delaware's, New Jersey's, Florida's every day, lots. And then any other state, we handle all the states. So that's kind of our focus. And, we've been a corporate sponsor for years, and hopefully people see me and recognize, hey, yeah, I have a client that needs to form an entity. It's not complicated. I don't need to pay an attorney $500 because it's pretty straightforward. They just need to form it, and that's where we come in to help them out. So.
Okay. Now, under the COVID issue with people working at home and things like that, are businesses finding that they need to be registered in multiple states now if their employees are crossing state lines?
I don't know for facts, but I know we're really busy. A lot of people are forming entities. We're sat half in the office, half remote from our location now. So there's always someone still here to answer your call. And if it's not, we all have access to the voicemail if anybody leaves a message at our number. So, so the COVID, obviously creates some hardship for some people, but some opportunities. A lot of people are starting different businesses. And back
Sure.
to,
Well, I guess I was asking more about Nexus issue.
Yeah.
Do you help advise clients on Nexus?
Yeah, basically most states want you to be registered there. They want the revenue for their annual, filing fees and things like that. But also, if you have an employee in a state, you might check for your liability as well. I always tell a story of an accountant from Pennsylvania who had a client who built decks, and they went to New Jersey to build a deck and never got paid. And of course, they never had registered to do business in New Jersey, and they were out of luck. So, there are some things, if you're doing business in a state and you're officially registered, you have some rights as well. Okay. So there are different reasons to be, not just the Nexus, but that is a key component. If you have somebody doing business in a state and they're physically in that state, it might be a good idea to look into maybe if you want to register there.
Okay. Well, that's good information. I guess one of the things that I've always run across with clients is like, say, truck drivers that have a corporation and they're driving up and down a highway. I had one client years ago who was pulled over and they confiscated his truck till he got registered in New Jersey. And all he was doing was just driving through New Jersey.
I have that. They stay over the Delaware Bridge, and we've had clients over the years call us, say their truck's impounded, they need to register in New Jersey, and we've helped them out.
Right.
We also are starting to do something where there is a special license for truck drivers to be registered in different states, and we're now have a connection. We're able to offer that. If you have any clients or anybody does that, or truck drivers, they have special permits, but they do actually need to have a registered agent in every state, because they could be driving through the state and something could happen, or they have an accident or something in that state.
Sure. But that is a service that you all offer.
We do offer it now. Yeah.
Okay. That's one you probably want to let more of our members know about, because I wasn't aware that you guys did that.
And I wasn't either until we came across it, and now we're able to. So I think there's some change or law, but
Right.
I'm not the one in the weeds. I'm not doing the actual fines, but I have a great staff, and they can help out with the fines.
Right. Sure. About how long does it take from start to finish for filings?
It just depends on the state. In Maryland, we always expedite. The filing happens quickly in Maryland, but the microfilm, it could be months before you get it back. So we always do the expediting. And we typically say, 3 to 5 business days. Here, if you're doing Delaware, we're filing routine and getting it back usually the next day or the day after. So,
okay, so it's a pretty quick turnaround.
It is a quick turnaround, and everybody seems to be, one thing now with the COVID, everybody seems to be a little bit more flexible about when they need things. So, but our turnaround time, we haven't had any state. Years ago, Pennsylvania was redoing their internal system, and they were months behind, and we really had to let everybody know, hey, this has become an issue. But for the most part, we haven't had any states that we've been flagged that have been taking longer than normal.
Okay.
Really help everybody out. So.
Well, what do we need to get? What kind of information will we need to provide you to get registered in a particular state?
That's right. I usually, when I'm exhibiting at the seminars, I usually have an order form or a qualification form with me that has the basic information. But it's usually, when we form a new entity, we say the purpose is for any legal activities allowed under that state. It's kind of a broad blanket purpose clause. And we really need the initial members, directors, owners, the address, what the name wants to be. We'll check the name, make sure it's available, but sometimes, clients want to look and make sure they have a name that's unique and it's not taken. And then really that's all we need. Sometimes if they're forming a general corporation, we do the maximum number of shares for the minimum amount.
Right.
But sometimes people want more shares or basic, 100 shares or something like that. So it's not that complicated. It's just, it used to be more of a hassle. I remember doing Illinois, they wanted you to have blue ink or something like that. All these quirks that different states have. And if you don't do it all the time, you don't want to waste your time, and you don't want to be accused of giving advice and practicing law a lot of times. Use a service company like ours that we can do it for the client as a service and not giving advice.
Right. Okay. So you don't sit down and meet with the client and talk to them about the different kind of entities and
the
nuances of all that, or that's up to the attorney or the accountant.
Exactly. We try to say, you figure out what you want to form, and we'd be glad to form it with you. We can say, hey, most people of our clients that are buying a rental property usually put it in an LLC. I can just tell you that's what happens. I don't know if that's best for you or not, but
right.
So we general terms of what happens, but we prefer that they know what they want to do from the advice they get from their accountant or their attorney. We do a lot of work for attorneys too. It costs them less to farm it out to us and charge the paralegal a couple of hours of work. So,
right. Now, I know years ago, people used to incorporate in Delaware. Everybody was a Delaware corporation. Why was that? Or is that still a good thing for people to do?
One of the reasons was it was a lot less expensive. It isn't. It's about the same price now. There's LLC tax every year is $300. But what people did, and still most of the Fortune 500 companies and companies that get listed on the stock exchange still do Delaware. The laws are very friendly for corporations. You understand they have a court of chancery, so they understand if there's any lawsuits, what the outcome's going to be. They have a good court history, but also it's business friendly. Like if you might have a chance that your business might go into bankruptcy, you probably want to have Delaware bankruptcy court hear the case. It'll be much smoother than maybe some other state that you don't know how long it's going to take and what's going to happen. So it has a good court system. The laws are very friendly and straightforward. If you need a withdrawal, you can do a filing and do it within a day. Whereas I have clients in New Jersey and Pennsylvania, they try to withdraw their corporation and they have to get tax clearance, and it goes on, and it's not as smooth. So there are still some benefits for Delaware, and especially if you have shareholders and shareholder agreements and big companies. But if you're a general regular corporation, probably the state that you're in. Sometimes I do say, though, let's say you don't have to be any place, you just have an idea with a friend and you want to form a company, and it could be any state, you really don't have a physical location yet. You just want to memorialize something and have something in writing and something to go by.
Sure.
Delaware still can be good for something like that. So.
Okay. What about Arizona? I hear about Arizona now being the hot spot to incorporate your business. Is that still, or Nevada?
Yeah, Arizona still has a publishing requirement. I know that. But there's different states go through certain times. Like I know Wyoming tried to really grab a hold of a lot of business, and they lowered their fees to $50 for a while. And so different states will try to get a piece of that incorporating business. So they say that there's a lot of foreign entities want to find a place, or if they think they get flagged because they're doing too many Delaware entities. But I think most states are being pretty careful about knowing your clients and who they are. It's just I hadn't heard specifically Arizona, but I know there are some different states. Like Delaware is to New York as Nevada is to California. So you can have New York where you form a company and you have employees. You could be on the hook for perpetuity. So people are like, I don't want that restraint. I'm going to form a Delaware entity and register to do business in New York, and that's why I'm not tied by some extra oversight or laws. And the same thing in California. Nevada copy Delaware laws. So a lot of times they form Nevada companies if they're in California. Seems to be the same region.
Okay.
But Nevada's prices same as Delaware. Nevada prices used to be really cheap, and now they're a lot more expensive. There's an annual list of officers that's pricey, and it's become more expensive. So. But I think Nevada. Right. I haven't checked my list for Arizona. It's probably pretty reasonable. Arizona, I would think.
Yeah, I've just recently seen it advertised. Incorporated in Arizona. And I just assumed that it was the same reason, like you're saying about Delaware, where it was cheaper. So a lot of people went that way.
Yeah.
But then you have resident agent fees in those states. So what typically is a resident agent fee for your company every year?
Yeah, so we charge $99 a year in every state.
Oh, okay. So that's very reasonable.
Is any state?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, our competitors, the big corporations like Corporation Trust, CT, and CSC, where I used to work 25 years ago. They cater to these top 100 law firms, the top 500 companies. They have bells and whistles. If they get sued, it's online on their system right away. We're more. If you don't think you're going to get sued a lot, you're going to get the FedEx or the email now. A lot more is done electronically, service and process. But if you're not one of those, and we're a low-cost provider, we're not all the bells and whistles, but we're providing that for $99. And that's we're trying to do the incorporation really cheap because a lot of times we do that registered agent business. It's a recurring every year, as long as you're doing business in there, to have that office, and hopefully not much lawsuits come through. It's just an annual report here and there.
Right.
So that's
okay. All right. So to wrap this up, tell us one thing or give us a couple reasons why we should be using resident agents or registered agents to take care of our needs.
I think we're a local office right out of Delaware, not far away. We have a staff. You can get the same incorporating specialists. We're not too big. We can take good care of any of your clients for yourself. And so hopefully, we've been around. You can always get a hold of me if you have any issues. We'll be glad to take care of anything. So just a local, not too huge firm, but big enough to handle every state and do the volume that I think you can handle it. So I've been a corporate sponsor for years. Like I said,
I know you have
21 years, and most of those years have been a corporate sponsor and been with Maryland Society. So it's been a good back and forth. So appreciate it.
Yep. Well, I appreciate it, and certainly we thank you for being a corporate sponsor with us. I would like to remind all the members, when you think about farming the work out to attorneys or things like that, consider registered agents. I'm sorry, I don't mean to keep saying that.
That's okay. It's tough with Maryland as residents.
Right. So give Michael a call. And hopefully, he will be able to take care of you. And that's what it's all about, looking out for each other. So, Michael, thank you very much for joining us today.
Yeah. Thanks, Bill. Thanks, members, for keeping us busy. Again, remember, you usually see this $20 off. Mention that. We still honor that. Our number, 800-400-6650, and our website, inclegal.com, inclegal.com. So you'll be able to find us. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, thank you very much. You have a good afternoon.
Thanks. You too, Bill. Take care. Take care, everybody.